Hey guys, it's Steph. Welcome to the Cantina. Now, if I don't get a lot of people on, that's fine. I'm not looking to make this a big live broadcast. Just wanted to, say hey. It's Christmas Eve or Christmas Day now. I was gonna do this yesterday, but things got out of hand in a way that probably would have made everybody go, oh, okay. So, nah. Anyway, I hope everybody's Christmas has been great. We still have till midnight, so we can be happy and talk about the day that we love and show you my new cutting board. I actually thought it was a sign. This is a cutting board from my friend in DC, and she gave me a really cool wine inspired tray. So that's pretty cool. What else? I got a Padme Amidala Christmas ornament from Hallmark from last year. I bought that for myself. We really didn't, I think, go out and spend a lot of cash on Christmas stuff. I mean, on presents. The only thing that we did is we bought a really nice TV set, and we can hook up the Blu-ray player through Bluetooth. So we'll be doing that when after Christmas is done and the mantle's cleared off, because it's quite a bit bigger than the old TV. It'll be interesting seeing what everything looks like, and I can get all of my subscriptions onto that. Everybody can do that, and so anyway, there's the tree. There's Santa's Midnight Ride, a wildlife tree. So anyway, we have a lot of interesting things coming up. Now, I wanted to address the constant complaints by the black pills, or no, not the black pills, but Kennedy's folks that, and it's from them. So it's, hey Cross, glad to see you. I hope you had a great Christmas. So it's a what they're saying is that because Ahsoka did not show up on the list for Disney Plus listings, that something bad is going on. They're implying that the show's been filmed, right? It's in post-production now. It's done. Basically, they're just getting it ready. They're not putting it out until 2027. That has been the thing from what I remember. There you go, okay? All right. Just wait a minute. I'm going to get a different glass. Hi, Ragford. Just a minute. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. So there's the Christmas trees, at least part of them. I might kind of go from room to room tonight too, just because. Anyway, I thought I wasn't going to have any wine tonight, but it is Christmas Day after all. Anyway, so this stuff going on, I think, is just leftover garbage from Kennedy's people. They know she's gone, and it's really weird. If you go, I've got a spy on Blue Skies who basically sends me stuff whenever anybody at Lucasfilm says something that probably needs to be looked at, and they've been all quiet as mice. I mean, it was checked out after Charlie Kirk got shot. and all the rest of the stuff, and they've been quiet. I mean, basically, Pablo Hidalgo has reduced himself to posting pictures of Transformers, which isn't even the franchise he supposedly loves. Go, go figure that one out. Anyway, so I just sit back and go, you know, what's going on? You know, Kennedy hasn't said anything. She's getting a life achievement award, I think, from the sound editors. You know, participation trophy. I mean, there you go. All right, that's all you got. I mean, that's it. So there's that, and you know, Mando and Grogu are coming out, and you know, really, even the people that say there are leaks coming out, the leaks aren't making it to places where they could actually hurt the show. And it looks to me like, from what Sparrow said, they said that everybody's happy. In fact, what's really interesting is that they implied, well, actually, notice, I already said it, that nobody talks about Kennedy anymore. She's just not a factor. And, you know, you're going to have some pushback on that because the black pills need her. I look at, you know, I wanted to give you an example. I look at what Candace Owens is doing to Turning Point USA, to the conservative movement for money. She, first off, I think she was obsessed with Charlie Kirk. Second of all, she's an anti-Semite, and I can't tolerate that on any level. I cannot. Was not raised that way. You know, the Holy Bible is, you know, the first 5 books are the Torah, then there's the Tanakh, and they're Jewish sacred texts. That's the Holy Bible, the Old Testament. So it's like, you know, you're kind of like, anyway, they do it and they monetize it to make money. This has absolutely nothing to do with being a fan. And you find out after you listen to them long enough that they weren't Star Wars fans to begin with. You know, these are people that can't get a real job. I mean, that's my opinion, right? You know, and I'm, you know, to quote Candace, I'm only asking questions, right? You know, sure, bitch. Anyway, so, you know, they don't have anything to talk about with Mando and Grogu. They don't. And, you know, it's kind of sickening that we are now reduced to getting our information from people who really don't give a shit about the truth. They do give a shit about making money and will lie, cheat, and steal to do it. Okay. I mean, that's just anyway. What time is it? Okay. So anyway, that's all going on. So that's coming out. You know, Bob Iger is on his way out, supposedly. And Josh Damaro, the head of the parks, is the guy that seems to be the head of the pack. You know, we did hear a while back from the chairman of the board, who comes from, I think, one of the big financial houses. He was a CEO from one of them, so you know he's a serious guy. He said they were looking outside of the Disney Corporation, but I don't know if I believe that now. It's just kind of, you know, kind of wonder out loud. So Iger's going out, and you know, the rumor is when he's gone, she'll leave. She being Kennedy. And I just think it's a matter of making an announcement, right? I think it's just a matter of making an announcement. And then, you know, we'll all be like, okay, fine. And I think it's coming fast. I mean, it just seems like it, you know. I mean, things feel really different at Lucasfilm. It's quiet, but I think in a good way, if that makes any sense. Well, Yeah, unless he announces it when he leaves. I mean, that's within a week, right? So who knows? I mean, what I predict is what they were saying. Hey, Carlos. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, dude. Um, what I kind of predict is that they've done this, they did this with DC, the DCU, having dual presidents. You know, you got James Gunn doing the creative stuff, and you've got the other guy doing all the admin and financial stuff. Now, John Favreau can do both, but I think giving Dave Filoni kind of the head of the creative, and he is already, is a big step forward. And no, Dave Filoni is not a bad person. He did not stab George in the back, and no, he's not a Kennedy loyalist. That that was a made up bunch of shit. All right. What he is he's smart enough to keep his mouth shut and his head down until things change, right? And Disney saw what he did and his, ability to work well with John Favreau and said, "Here, go with God." There you go. Anyway, so there's some. We'll be hearing stuff shortly. And I'm gonna ask you guys a question: would you be shocked if Iger said something about Kennedy leaving soon? Yeah, Dave, Cameron likes to call him the company man, and he is, and that's fine. He is George's Padawan. He's his apprentice. And I know there are people out there, I can name them, who want to argue with you to the point where, they turn you into a target of ridicule because they can't deal with someone daring to call them out on their bullshit. Why would he do that to George? That's just a question I've got. I'm just asking questions, right? So there you go on that one. So I think, we've got the Darth Maul animated thing coming out. We've got more Star Wars Visions, so we've got that movie based on that Visions short, The Ninth Jedi. And that'll be interesting. I have become, because of Visions, a fan of anime because it's the kind of animation that I actually appreciate. I hate some of the childish crap that I saw, that I've seen from the Young Jedi's series. And a lot of the European houses put some really, wonky looking out there. All right, so no, I mean, we want to feel inspired. And SpongeBob with SquarePants in space is not inspiring, which is what it kind of reminded me of. I was watching a Bugs Bunny short on Facebook, laughing my head off, and I suddenly realized those were very simply painted cells, but they were beautiful and they weren't childish. And the stories behind them are worth thinking about. I mean, I got a 3-credit A in the history of animated film. I mean, we laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed the entire, semester. It was absolute chaos, but it's kind of chaos you like. That's what you want to bring to animation, right? And it's like, I just can't stand a lot of the toon shit coming out because it's aimed to such a young audience that the rest of us can't stomach watching it. Whereas Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, the Coyote and Roadrunner, etc., were aimed at a movie-going audience, but the kids got it. Is that because kids nowadays are better educated? Or back then were better educated? Yeah, I do. I think that. I mean, I remember back in the 80s, my sister Mary was one of these people screaming about the violence on Bugs Bunny. I don't know anybody who grew up in the 70s or 80s who wanted to drop an anvil on somebody's head. I don't know anybody who would want to set fire to somebody's head. I mean, that's some of the stuff. Or, how many times how many different ways can you blow off Daffy Duck's beak? We didn't think that way. So why the boomers were so upset? It wasn't because it was violent. It's because it couldn't control what people were seeing. And those cartoons, whether, you know, Chuck Jones and Fritz Freeling and the rest of those guys knew they were helping people develop a way of thinking that wasn't indoctrination, that you look at something and find it so absurd, even if you were 8 years old, and you were laughing because it was funny, but at the same time, you're like, that's not real. We could separate that. And because I think these boomers hated the idea that these amateur cartoon artists that drank bourbon and talked about writing stories while they were drunk created such an absurd world that everybody could enjoy it, and it was harmless because it was that absurd. And in come the left-wing baby boomers, the feminazis, screaming about violence. I'll tell you something else. They don't want little boys and never wanted little boys to see that stuff because they hate masculinity. It's another thing. You know my oldest sister, if you know my sister Chris, they hate men. Hate them, right? I would watch that and laugh, and it didn't, I don't know anybody who watches stuff and was violent because of it. I just don't. It's like blaming Ozzy Osbourne for kids in the late 80s killing themselves. Oh, hey, 007. Yeah, Merry Christmas, dude. When the lyrics of the song Suicide Solution are not promoting suicide. They're not. And it's just, I mean, really, you just kind of look at people and go, But anyway, so there's that. And I'm looking forward to the anime because the Japanese, they don't care. They don't. And they know how to write stories. What else is new? Yeah, I mean, that's, basically let's go and sit in the library. It's going to be dark in there because I turned off the light. Did I? Yeah, but there's enough light in there. So walking through the house, I gotta fix those. See? Kojak sitting there, presents scattered everywhere. There's gun tree, and there behind me is the blue and white tree. Now we're in the library. So, it's just, we've got a long way to go. And what I'm hoping is that Disney addresses some of the stuff that is going on with the fandom to reassure people. And I don't mean just leak shit out there. Don't do that. But tell us what's going on, right? Tell us who's leaving, tell us who's staying. And, that's all you really have to do. Hi, Kojak. Do you want to say hi? Here he is. There's the big man. So we had dinner at my sister-in-law's house in Maryland, and they have 2 golden retrievers. So I'm covered with hair, yellow dog hair, and he was sniffing me like crazy. But he knows where my heart is. He doesn't. Well, I don't normally come out here to sit. So this is, library. This is the military tree. I actually got a 250th anniversary or birthday ornament for the tree for the 250th 4th of July. I'm going to put that on the tree here. I got another one coming that is, oh, hi, Kojak. You don't have to lick my hands. He, it's dedicated to the Marine Corps, so that'll be cool. Like I said, we got a big, brand new TV set, and that's going to be cool. I think I want to put the old one up in my office, change some stuff around after the new year, and set up one of the old DVD players because we've got a ton of physical media, and I wouldn't mind being up there doing stuff and watching, having a movie playing in the background. You know, and there's that. What else is going on? Not much. We're just kind of, it was a good Christmas, I think. Now we're just kind of relaxing. We had prime rib and great potatoes au gratin. Her husband made a sage and sausage stuffing British style. It's really good. Green beans and carrots and parsnips. Everything was great. And then I bought a bouche de Noël from Wegmans, and it was tasty. That was a good thing. But I'm gonna try to learn how to make one. I want a white chocolate peppermint bouche de Noël. I think it's time for that. I don't know. Anyway, what else is new? Nothing really. I mean, I'm just like, we wait, you know? We just hang around. We know that from what, Sparrow said that everything has calmed down at Lucasfilm, which is important. All right, that's important, guys. Kennedy, no one really mentions her anymore. And there you go. I mean, so really, when people bring her up, it's like there's nothing to talk about. I mean, there isn't because she's gone. Thank God. I look at people and go, why is it so important that she's there? And then I think Candace Owens, she monetizes stuff, and she doesn't care if it's the truth or not. And that's the same thing with the black pills. That's exactly what they do. And it's the same thing with the blue pills. They know changes are coming. I mean, look, Screen Rant even said they are retconning the sequels. And they mentioned it was going to start happening in Mando and Grogu, but it wouldn't be obvious until Ahsoka came out. And now, they're all screaming that, well, Ahsoka's not coming out. I was like, yeah, it is. What? And look, again, I've said this before. The reason why they're saying that is they're terrified that they're going to lose Rey, and she's already gone. Kyle Ron, you know, we may still have a Ben Solo, but it's not going to be that one. It's going to be a completely different actor, probably, and whatever. Now, personally, you guys, I would like it if they just erased it and brought back Jason, Jaina, and Anakin, and maybe a few other kids. And then maybe have, even though I don't like the idea at all, I think that was stupid. And I agree with George that, Luke is a Jedi, and the romantic thing, you know. Um, oh, thank you, Silver Steve. Frohe Weihnachten. That means Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas in German. It, it, I don't really think Luke needs a romance or a kid, but anything was better than what we got. you know, and so there you go on that one. And that's just what it is. Oh yeah, I know, and I think it's gonna be. I think Mando and Grogu is gonna be good. I liked what I saw. People seem to think Mando's going to team up with Rhoda the Hutt, and it's like I don't think he is. I think he's going to go get him. I think he's going to go get him. And what I find kind of upsetting, to put it bluntly, is that Boba Fett apparently isn't going to be in the movie. And he is basically the one that took over Jabba's territory. And that doesn't just mean Tatooine, it means the hyperspace lanes. They'll have to pay him tribute. So why would Rhoda be a good guy? That's his inheritance. All right, I don't know. I think if Mando is going to help out the New Republic, that he's probably hunting Rhoda. That's what I think. The fact that Jeremy Allen White's doing the voice, I can't wait to hear what this sounds like. I really can't. I mean, it's going to be awesome. But anyway, you know, we'll wait. We have to wait. And I think that the publicity machine for Mando and Grogu will start turning up after the new year. Maybe we'll get another teaser trailer or something with different stuff. They're being very careful with it. I think a little too cautious. But look, Hollywood executives are scared shitless. Hollywood is not doing well. I think they had the worst box office ever last year. All right. They're not making movies people want to see. Now, apparently, Gen Z wants to see movies. There's just not enough of them. And, the last movie I saw was Revenge of the Sith. That's the last time I went. Why? Because I don't see any movies out there that I wanted to see. I didn't want to see Sinners. I thought about going to see Nosferatu, but I waited till it came on streaming. And there's a scene that is so disgusting, disturbing, vile. Then I'm like, I quit watching it. Quit watching it. I don't want to see a vampire looking like he's fucking another man. That's exactly what it was, too. I'm like, are you guys aware of what this looks like? It's disgusting. You know? No dark crypto, but you can be banned. Thanks, Cross. You beat me to it. But anyway, I'm was horrified. And there's some other stuff that came out that I thought for about 5 seconds I wanted to see it. And no, I don't want to see it. I know that friends of mine loved Sinners, but when all the vampires are white people, Irish white people, one of the most dragged through the mud ethnicities in all of Europe, I'm like, fuck this shit. I don't like it when people who aren't connected ethnically and historically to these things make a comment like that because that they like something and they don't realize the history of all this stuff. Read How the Irish Saved Civilization, right? That's one book. There are plenty more about the Irish that you should read, and then you understand why certain people were just a little bit offended. All right, I'm sorry. And, You want vampire? I mean, what if you were to do a zombie movie about New Orleans? You're gonna, I would say, take it from the people, the ethnic people, the races that live there. Do not, because it's not true. There has to be, in my opinion, an element of truth in every story, right? And I think some people out there don't really understand the connection that I do as somebody who's a historian to any of this, whether it's Sinners, which was probably a good movie, or you do something, watch a movie about the Holocaust. It has nothing to do with anybody else. That has to do with Germany, European history, right? And when someone like me gets pissed off and brings it up, right? I would think that people would understand that you are not connected to that via heritage. My dad dropped bombs on the Germans. My uncles stormed the beaches at Normandy and shot Germans. They opened up the camps. If you don't have a personal connection like that, zip the lip. Zip it. Be quiet, right? Because when someone says, I have a hard time hearing this, and this is the reason why, it's that part of them saying, you aren't bringing all this other stuff up. That's what bothers me. But anyway, um, you know, uh, so I don't even know what the point was. Anyway, it's just really going to be an interesting year coming up. I really look at yeah, Cross. I agree. But here's the thing: how many people out there realize that there was a casting call for next May's seasons of The Force for Han Solo, an actor to play Han Solo at Galaxy's Edge, and an actor to play Luke Skywalker. They're bringing Han back. That would actually get me to go to Disney just to see what that's about, because and there will be another video where you see them talking about everything except for the sequel trilogy, because it's never mentioned. And I'm pretty sure that if Rey is even there anymore. And what's really weird is I haven't seen any pictures of that character walking around in the crowds. Kyle Ron, a few, but there you go. Anyway, so yeah, so the OG is being used very sparingly. And what I like about it is it gives a sense of respect to those characters and the actors that portrayed them and George, right? We're going to be very sparing with them. We're not going to overuse them. They get to come in at a certain time to make an impact. And you guys remember at the end of season 2 of Mando, that was a slap, that was a boom in your face. That was fantastic, right? Anyway, so I want you guys to have the rest of this Christmas Day night, and to have a good evening, watch a movie, get wrapped up in, a blanket and cuddle with your dog, or who your boyfriend or girlfriend, and or your husband or wife, and your kids, and just be mellow, right? And remember, it's not about the presents. It's not even about Santa Claus. It's about the birth of the Son of God. God coming down to earth and man's in the form of mankind. A priest once said, "The birth of Christ is when eternity pierced time." That's a pretty cool and powerful thing. Anyway, so you guys have a good evening. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas because I did. Subdued, but it was fun. And we'll see you on the flip side. If something happens tomorrow, I will be here. Who knows? Anyway, so you guys around the galaxy, Merry Christmas. And remember, no droids, no bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies, no black pills, no sequel trilogy fans. And Merry Christmas and may the force be with you.